The best investment you can make in your 30s. Why is this a topic? Why is it important? And what are we going to talk about in this video? Now, invest in your 30s. It's fundamental to you growing your portfolio, whether it is for cash flow, for growth, or for retirement. You may have a goal that you want to retire by the time you're in your 40s, or you might actually want to be retired in the next 5 or 7 years and just really sit on the beach or enjoy time with the kids or travel the world. Whatever your goal is, 30s is a fundamental time. And the reason it's a fundamental time is that it gives you the foundation. See, when you're in your 20s, you're starting out, you try to figure out what you're doing, you're experimenting a lot of things, you haven't got your skill set and experience down pat, you haven't achieved the career growth you needed. Now, in your 30s, you've got some deposits, and you may already have bought 1 or 2 properties or invested into stocks and shares or into businesses, and you're starting to get some foundation. Now, the next step you go through is fundamental and paramount to whether you retire sooner or later, whether you retire wealthy or poor, right? And this is why this video is so important. At the end of this video, if you feel that what I've given you is great and what you love about it, please subscribe, hit the bell, but also do click the link below so you can book in for your own personalized strategy session so that we know we can help you move forward on your investment journey. So let's get started. So what are some of the common investments that people are making in their 30s? And why am I talking about this is because if you don't know what other people are doing, you don't know what the things are trialed and done and outdated, you're not going to be able to move forward. So let's look at a few things that has been trialed, done, outdated, not really suitable for what's going to happen in the next 5 or 10 years. Now, why do I want to talk about this? It's because you need to know these are the things, if you're already doing or thinking of doing, you need to cut them out, right? Because they're not helping you move forward, right? And this is what it's all about. So number one, most people start out investing in residential. Yes, that's great, but you're going to find yourself really, really negative, right? If you are investing in metro areas. So you're buying in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, you're going to be putting money into the property rather than the money giving you, right? Yes, you're feeding the machine called growth, but you're going to have to wait 10 years or maybe even longer for that growth to happen, and you're going to need to increase your income all the time to be able to refinance against equity, right? That's the growth in your property. Now, equity is great, but it doesn't pay the bills, and that's one of the most important things you got to remember is that equity is great, but it won't pay the bills, right? So you do need cash flow, right? And it's important in your 30s to have cash flow because cash flow increased plus your own income means that you can do better faster than everybody else in the market, and that's how you become wealthy, right? So if you're looking at that, that may not be a strategy looking for you. That's a long haul. Or alternatively, people go and chase cash flow and they buy regional residential property. Even worse, right? Yes, you're getting 6 or 7% yield. Yeah, that looks really fantastic on a $250,000 property or $350,000. Yeah, when you have a 10% growth, that gives you $30,000. Woohoo! Where is that going to take you? Where's this $30,000 going to buy you next? Another regional property? What you really need is exponential growth. You need a property that doubles itself in 2 to 3 years. You don't need a property that doubles itself in 10 years. So your regional properties, yeah, great. You'll be positive $50 a week until you send out the plumber, right? So these are the things that people have trialed and done and have not worked. The other big strategy that's been in the market since your parents' age, since the 1950s, is that you buy a property every year for 10 years, and then when you're ready to retire, you sell 50% of it, pay down the other 50%, and you're done, right? Those strategies, residential, don't work because the thing is now the price of property is so high, but the rents, even though they've gone up, have not caught up, which means you're actually getting less returns. Even if you sold and held onto $2, $3, $5 million worth of unencumbered, so paid off residential properties, your return is still net 2%. 2% on $1 million is $20,000. Now, we can't live on $20,000. The average basic life when you retire is about $50,000. That's basic. It's not traveling anywhere. But if you want the extravagant life, the carefree life, you're going to need $200,000 to $300,000, and you're not going to get that if this is your pathway when you start out in your 30s. So you need something exponential. You need something greater than that. And look, other people tried. You might have tried shares. You might have tried crypto. Might be some boarding houses. There's lots and lots of different things, but you're going to find they fluctuate, right? They fluctuate, or you can't borrow against it, which means you can't leverage. So what is the other option? Well, the latest and really the best cash flow option still in this market, no matter what the interest rate is doing, it's still commercial property. But why commercial property, right? Because commercial property is a cash flow game. It is fundamentally a cash flow game, which means that it's going to help you create more cash flow income for you to move forward. So how does the commercial property help you to be one of the best investments in your 30s? Well, number one, if you invest in commercial property, you would be able to put your income or your deposit to a separate entity. So this is one of the fundamental things most people get wrong, is that they hold residential in their own names and eventually it's all on themselves if something happens, right? Commercial is held in a different entity. So that's usually a trust or a company or a unit trust if you're coming in with someone else, right? So you loan that entity or the company a deposit. That may be 200, 300 or even 150,000, depending how much money you've got to get started. That's what you start to get to loan that money. Now, with that money, the entity, what you want to do is this property to be self-sufficient. It needs to roll and grow on its own, because you need to have an independent life away from your investment. That's the mistake that most people make in their 30s, and I don't want you to do that. So make sure you separate them, because this entity needs to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining, and continue to roll. So how does it do that? Well, you put the money in, so you loan it, so therefore this entity owes you that money, which you will pay back over time. But that entity might owe you, say, 200 or 300,000, right? Now you're going to go and buy a commercial property. The commercial property needs to be, when you're in your 30s, in a growth area, breaking even at a minimum, right? And the reason for that is you want it to be in an area you're buying ahead of the market. So if everyone else is getting a 6% return, you want 6.5%. Everyone else getting a 5%, you want 5.5% or maybe 6%. You want to be ahead of the market, even just by 0.5%, because that compounds over time. You're looking for rental increases, ability to have changes in rent if the current tenant leaves, and a really key area that has lots of gentrification, a lot of projects happening, right? So you're looking for that. And it doesn't matter if it's freestanding or strata. If you're buying in metro, that area is going to behave the same and it's going to uplift itself in value. You want, ideally, in the next 2 to 3 years, for that property to actually go up to about 50 to 60% in value, right? While in the meantime, holding its own, and by about year 2 to year 3, giving you positive cash flow. Now, is that achievable? Absolutely. Here at Unicorn Commercial Property, we do it every day for our clients. This is the type of strategy that we implement for our clients when they're in their 30s, so that they can grow to the retirement that they want when they get to their 40s, right? And we invest a lot of time in planning and building out the property profile and strategy with our clients before we move forward to even help them become a commercial property investor, helping them through our commercial buyers agency service. We need to educate you and help you plan, because without this, you're just pick and choosing from the market and you don't know where it is, and you're going to find it goes sideways, and in 5 years you're not closer to your goal, right? In your 30s, you're in a pivotal time. You've got to hit it all the time, right? So people just say, hey, you got 200,000, just buy something 500,000. That's the wrong way to do it, and that's giving you false advice. You need to plan and look into the future 2 to 3 properties. So let's say you got this property 3 years time or 2 years time, you want to refinance, right? And we've done this for our clients where we've put them strategically into a property where they're located and they're getting high yield, so above 6%. They're in a metro area, so Melbourne, Sydney, ACT, or Brisbane, or Gold Coast, like areas like that. Strategic areas where we're seeing the rents are ready to change. So, for example, they got in at $110 a square meter, and we're seeing that the rents are going to $140 a square meter. So we know that in the next 2 to 3 years that will jump. But we're also looking at rental increases. Now, instead of having one per year, we're getting in, and we know in the first 6 months they're going to have a rental increase, and another one in 12 months time. So in 18 months, you're having 2 rental increase. So you're growing higher and faster than the market, which also means that the value of your property grows as well. We know the market's going to change, and in about 2 and a bit years, so 2.5 years, or when your tenant actually renews for a lease, voila, that's when you actually refinance and you pull out that equity, the money you've loaned to the property, you pull it out and you do it again, right? If during that time if the property starts to give you positive cash flow, which it should in about 12 months time, you can accumulate that positive cash flow plus any money you can save outside of it. And this is another way we plan, is looking at what pieces we can move in your residential portfolio. If you're in your 30s and already have some residential, what pieces we can move in your residential portfolio and in your super to be able to help you buy another property, right? Because when you're in your 30s, you want to have exponential growth and you want to accumulate and you want to go fast into that trajectory to a plateau where you can then tweak your properties, make it better, sell to consolidate, and go again. That is the key to wealth, is to leverage and fix, maintain, make better, like good to great journey, consolidate and go again, right? How many versions you need of this depends on your situation, what you're earning, and when you plan to retire. And we've got a set formula here at Unicorn Commercial Property to help you do it. So all you have to do is click the link below and book in for your strategy session. Now, moving forward, now in 3 years time or 2.5 years time, you want to refinance. What you want to do is go again, right? It's all about going again. How do you go again? Now this time you're going to do something a little bit cleverer. You're going to now do an uplift property. Uplift is having a property that's run down, a headache from someone else that they don't want to pick up, and you will pick it up, refurbish it, bring it up to speed, put a tenant in, get that exponential jump of 20 to 40% in equity. And so that you can pull the money out again. Now you've got a way bigger deposit, and we're looking at, your $2.5 to $3.5 million in purchase. Now you're getting to the serious end of the market, and this is where you start to get onto your exponential growth, right? Now that pathway can be absolutely charted out for you through our unique Unicorn system, where we look at cash flow, growth, and uplift. We have a program which will help our clients take a property that is a simple vacant dump of a property all the way to fruition, where we've got a beautiful property, a tenant on a 5-7 year lease, where the value in the market is 40 to 60% more than what they started out with, right? Now, it all takes time with planning, learning, being part of one of the largest communities in Australia in terms of commercial property investors, and making sure you've got a team and mentoring behind you. And that's what Helen Tarrant and the Unicorn team brings to you. So if this has been of value to you, this video, and you're looking to find out how you can retire how you can retire by having the right stepping stones in place in your 30s, reach out to us, helentarrant.com, unicorn.com.au, click the link below, book in for your strategy session, and let's create wealth together.